This is the Addo Model 2. It was made by Addo. We can just call them AB like everyone else does. They made the Addo 1 and a whole bunch of other calculators. They hit their stride with the Addo X and sexy lady advertising, the whole bit. Sometimes, to keep up with the Joneses, companies will dress up their products. They'll shoehorn in features instead of just going back to the drawing board, and they end up with a Frankenstein's monster of a result. I mean, do you think the ISS started off looking like this? Just look at the master tranche adder. To spice it up, they added gears and lights and tabs to do multiplication. But none of those things actually contributed to the mechanism in any impactful manner. The Addo Model 1 certainly had some problems. It faces the wrong way, you kind of leaned away from the user. The accumulator is very hard to see, although ironically in this shot it shows up just fine. But the carry is very hard and doesn't always work right. The Addo Model 1 is a platform that probably shouldn't have been updated. That's not a criticism of tooth racks. The Mercedes Euclid used tooth racks to very good effect. It's just the Addo style of tooth racks is a bit lackluster. But we know they did update the Model 1, so let's take a look at what they did. They doubled the size of the whole device, making it easier to use it on a desk. The stylet can fit in that hole. Put the whole calculator in a stand to face the user. Without the stand, you can see it would have been angled away from the user. With the cast iron stand, this thing weighs 9 pounds. That's more than a gallon of milk. It is heavy. There's the user interface area of the tooth racks. They have painful finger tabs there for when you lose your stylus. You need to crank the handle after every number entry. It sets your entry and performs any carries. Annoyingly, that clearing lever needs to be used with the crank handle down. If I want to enter 25, I just go down, click it down 2 spaces, and then the ones I click it down 5 spaces. This would be easier if you had a stylus, because then you could just put it on your number and crank it all the way down, and you don't have to actually pay attention to how far down you're sliding the tooth rack. But I enter in 25 again, and you can see it adds it immediately, but it doesn't do the carry. Now when I do the crank, it'll set the answer and perform the carry. So I'll go on and I'll do 25 times 25, really having to focus on it because I don't have a stylus. It has the complement numbers on the right there for subtraction. So if I want to subtract 25, the first thing I would do is take away 1 from 25 to equal 24, and then look over at the complement numbers to enter 24, which in this case would be like entering 75. Again, this would be easier with the stylus, but I don't have one. Now at this point, it would be tempting to go ahead and crank the handle, but then I'm going to get a whole bunch of leading numbers that might not make sense. So I have to add the leading zeros. Crank the handle, proper answer of 600. And then to clear, the crank handle has to be down. Here's a look under the hood. The mechanism of this device prevented it from having repeat addition, which I think would have helped it immensely. I mean, still, it's easy to look back and criticize these devices. AB Addo undoubtedly knew the limitations of this machine. It only made it for 5 or 6 years before releasing better devices. Still, it was a very robust device, and I can't help but liking it. Of course, had I been in the market for an Addo machine in the 1920s, I certainly would have looked to one of the Addo Model 2's more capable competitors. Thanks for watching.